Here's another interesting figure. This is from the BBC's website. And again, I'm sure you can't make anything out, but I'll hold it up in any case. You can see that there's a bar which is going downwards, and there are other bars that are all going upwards. These are different regions of the world, except this is just China. All of these indicate the level of increases in poverty. And you can see, this is Europe and Central Asia, poverty went up. Latin America and the Caribbean, poverty went up. South Asia, poverty went up. And Sub-Saharan Africa, poverty went up the most. But in China, poverty went down. In fact, in China, poverty decreases are so huge, about 400 million people taken out of poverty in the last 20 years. They are so massive that they offset the entire trend, the world economic trend. In other words, if I just exclude one country and look at the last 20 years of statistics, world poverty has gone up. But I just include China in that, and world poverty is shown to be declining because of the efforts of I think that's what socialism is about. It's about giving people a decent living, isn't it? So, and you'll see in most bourgeois textbooks that they will have different statistics, one which includes China and one which excludes China. The reason why they have to do that is because China is such a massive outlier in terms of poverty reduction that the whole picture changes. So you have to give those two, you have to give two tables and two statistics and two graphs all over the, that's the standard practice in statistics now in social sciences. 75%, as I think Harpal said this earlier, 75% of those people that have been lifted out of poverty in the last 2 decades have been lifted out of poverty in China. That is no small achievement, believe me. In fact, it could be argued that that achievement is even bigger in its absolute magnitude than the achievements that occurred during the transformation of Russia, which of course had far harsher conditions and more difficult conditions historically, and was working with much more primitive technology. But the speed at which China has managed to lift people out is absolutely phenomenal. One last thing I'll say before ending my speech is that, what is the reason behind this phenomenal growth? Bourgeois economists will tell you that it's foreign direct investment. Here's another interesting experiment that I conducted, or statistical study that I did. Take the regions, take the provinces of China, and there are the foreign direct investment, you know, is concentrated in a few provinces of China, in coastal areas. Take their growth rates and look at the amount of foreign direct investment. And very quickly what you discover is, if you put that on a graph, very quickly you discover that there is no correlation between the two. In other words, counties that are receiving the highest foreign direct investment are not necessarily counties that experience the highest rates of growth. So there is, if there is no correlation here, clearly there can be no causation either. What is happening, in fact, is that the phenomenal rate of growth in China is attributable to two things. The first is the laying down of the infrastructure, education, healthcare, dams, barrages, all of that, roads, railroads, and so on. And the second thing is the development of township and village enterprises, which is so massive, so rapid, and so fast growing, whether that is occurring in the countryside or in far out provinces, or whether that's occurring in coastal areas. That is the engine of growth. If you look at the growth of township and village enterprises, and you put that on a graph, you'll see a very clear correlation there. So that is the engine. In other words, to sum it up in non-economical language, China's growth is indigenous. China's growth owes itself to the changes in the social structure that were brought about by the revolution in 1949. China's growth rate owes itself to the Communist Party, it owes itself to Marxism-Leninism, it owes itself to socialism, and it owes itself to the people of that country, to the leadership of that country, and that is the essence of what we must protect with this campaign that we call Hands Off China. That is the essence of what we must, as progressive people all over the world, defend when we defend China. Thank you very much.
I have to say, Cde Taimur, you're a total failure. You promised to be boring, but you failed to be. you failed to be so. Before I go any further, can I welcome Comrade Xu Bin and his colleague from the Chinese embassy. We're very pleased to have him.